I'll never get used to this.
I love you.
I love you too.
I love you and I want to marry you.
You do? Yes.
It took me 15 years to realize how important you are to me. Now I could lose you.
Ain't gonna get more beautiful every time I see you. I get a welcome home kiss?
Family. Did he gain the greatest, the GOAT of the most beautiful love stories you will ever witness, Stephen Laura. This, I'm doing a review on Jaleel's book. I read it in its entirety. Actually, I shouldn't say I read it. I read some of it, but majority of it, I listened to the audio. So I have some reactions and some surprising things. And just gonna break down what I got from his book. And so the first thing that I got to go to, guys, that was the most surprising in his book. Y'all just check it out.
Off screen, Kelly was my sparring partner and my most ardent defender. When things were awkward in my introduction to the cast, it was Kelly who told any of my detractors, Jaleel works his butt off.
I said, tell me about Urkel. You said, so describe him off camera.
He's just like a regular guy. I mean, he's cool. He's you think he look more cool than he really is. But he's really smart.
Yeah.
People see all the success he had as that character,
right.
But people do not understand how he worked on that character. What the result you saw was because he spent all of his time trying to develop what he wanted to do for the show and how he was developing that character. He spent a lot of time in beating on his craft and working that thing out.
Right.
And that's why he was ultimately so successful with it.
Okay, did y'all hear the words that came out of Jaleel White's mouth? Okay, on his video. He said that when the cast was treating him funny, coming at him crazy, who stood up for him? Kelly. That was so surprising to me. I would have thought Kelly would have stayed quiet, minded her business, stayed in the back. No, he said, and remember who Jaleel said he was getting issues from. Not from the older cast. So Kelly was standing up for him, had his back, letting them know. That's why I wanted to show you that other interview, because she's been consistent, right? She told the guy, like, Jaleel worked his butt off. What did Jaleel say that Kelly would say to people? Hey, Jaleel works his butt off. Back up off him, okay? Back up off him. He works. He's working his butt off.
Did I just say that?
I just thought that was very interesting. The most thing that I took from his book, because it's like, I hate to say it like this, but it's like, why is he not reciprocal with that? Why is it that she can go and defend him and have his back and support him? And also, let's look at this. Let me go side over here. Let me slide over here real quick and go to the side. I'm going to get back to where I was right there. But isn't it interesting that maybe that's why they started to put it in the show with Laura Winslow always having Steve's back? Because maybe Kelly has always had Jaleel's back, right, as a friend, and you even saw it there. And so I just think that's interesting. And it's like, what irritates me about all of this when it comes to the reboot and stuff like that is how he want to kick her out, though. The one person that had his back against everybody, not only as Laura Winslow, but as Kelliewilliams, defending Jaleel White. She had his back. And we got to give Kelliewilliams, Laura, we got to give her big props for standing and doing what's right in the face of adversity. This is what he do, right? He's going to, he going to have a reboot of her shivering in the corner with a baby, and you don't know who the baby, she a baby mama. He going to have Laura coming back as a baby mama. Like, that's what you're doing. And so this is some of the stuff, guys, this is repeated stuff that you're going to see. I've said many a times, I hate to say it, I think Jaleel has deep-rooted serious issues when it pertains to Black women. There's just something that's not right about it when it comes to that, because it's like, why are you not reciprocal? Why is it that anytime Stephen Laura is mentioned, like I've said many a times, all he has to say is like, oh yeah, man, Kelly was phenomenal, blah, 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 and he can go and talk about Michelle all he wants to, but just acknowledge Kelly, just acknowledge what she's done as Laura Winslow, and so that's one of the things that I found so surprising is like, wait a minute, Kelly had his back even back then against some of the older castmates. That's mind-boggling to me. Okay, just absolutely mind-boggling to me in reading his book. So let me get to, that was the biggest surprise. So I wanted to step on that. But when I go and look at the whole view of his book, and that's why I said, this is one of the reasons why you're like, why? This is why I said I don't particularly care for this dude. Because he's one of them ones where you'll send good energy his way, and he'll still send you negative energy. And those are the people, guys, going into the next season, those are the people you want to be careful of. You want to be careful of those people where you're sending out positive, you're being supportive, you're being all this, and they're not giving that back. Open up your eyes to that, because you deserve better. You need to value yourself and understand and look in the mirror and say, I deserve better. Even if you have to spend a season alone, even if you have to spend a season by yourself, you deserve more, right? Or you can say, hey, they ain't giving me that good energy, so I'm gonna fall back a little bit. However you want to do it, but take care of yourself. But this is something I'm with, like, do you go, you can go look at interview after interview after interview with Jaleel. I never see him have Kelly's back. I never really see him say positive things about her. And even in this thing here, you're like, oh, that was really nice. Yeah, but guys, he followed it up with basically saying Kelly got fat, and that's why she ain't in Hollywood no more, because Hollywood don't want fat people. In a nutshell. That's what that's how you're gonna paint her. And the fact of the matter is, let me go here for a second. The fact of the matter is, Kelly is still a gorgeous woman. That's how gorgeous she is. She can wear her hair long, she can wear it short, she can wear it back, she can wear, you know what I'm saying? She can put on a little weight, she can, she can have a little bit of weight, she can have no weight. And guys are still, because I know there's many of you guys that hit me up was like, man, Thick Kelly still fly, baby. Thick Kelly, I still want to get with a Thick Kelly. So I know that is not an issue for some of you guys, even though y'all might run your lips and run your mouth, just like some people saying, oh, well, Jaleel leveled up from Kelly, because his wife is successful and da-da-da-da-da. Explain to me how his wife is more successful than the woman that played Laura Winslow. Explain that to me. This is social media brain to say Winslow is an icon. And I said, well, they think that, they saying that because she, they say that she's hotter. And my friend really laughed at that. And she said, I can't say what she said. She said they a dang lie, but she used the other word. I don't curse, and I'm working on her. But she said they a dang lie. They know good and sweet well that woman is not better looking than Kelly. Like, you need to stop, And I said, well, I think it's because she's skinnier type of thing. And she was like, okay, so if you want to say that what Jaleel's wife has over Kelly is that she's skinnier, okay, I'll give you that. Because she don't have nothing else. There's nothing else she has over Kelly. Probably not personality. Kelly has an amazing personality. She played Laura Winslow. She's a beautiful black woman, whether she thick or not, baby. Okay? She a beautiful black woman. Kelly, frankly, does not get enough credit, but Laura Winslow is an icon. Period. So let me give you the idea about this book. Would I recommend this book? Guys, I would recommend this book if you are a Jaleel White fan. If you are a bona fide, not just a Family Matters fan, but you are a bona fide Jaleel White fan, you want to reread about him, you want to hear his voice on and on and on and on and on and on and on, then you are the one that should buy the book. If you are a Jaleel White fan, matter of fact, why don't you have it? If you are a Family Matters fan, however, if you don't care who it is, like I just love Family Matters, it could be Kelly, it could be Jaleel, it could be Reginald, whoever it is, this book is not for you because it's not about Family Matters. It's not even really about Steve Urkel. The way that I would name this book is I would name it like the pitfalls and privilege of Jaleel White. Like that's what he's talking about, right? He's getting a lot of revenge on a lot of people in the book. He's dragging a lot of people in the book. So it's the pitfalls and the privilege of Jaleel White. But he couldn't use Jaleel White because he's not going to sell as many books. So he has to use Urkel, which is absolutely fine. He's worked, like Kelly said, he's worked his butt off for that, right? So that is his right to do that. But the book is really about Jaleel White. So if you are a Jaleel White fan, why don't you already have the book? But if you're a Family Matters fan, I would say, I would pause on that, because it's not about Family Matters. And actually, anybody that he talks besides Michelle that he talks about in the book pertaining to Family Matters, every single person that he mentions in a negative way. He might throw a backhanded compliment like he did with Kelly, but he still is going to talk about them in a very negative way. Now, what are some of the things I took from this book? Jaleel's I'm just keeping it real with y'all, okay? He's very bitter. Jaleel probably needs to seek some type of counseling because he seems very bitter. He's bringing up things about girls. And we're going to get into it right now. He's bringing up things about girls from 30 years ago when they were 13 years old. Like, bruh, you still holding on to that? For real? It's kind of interesting. But again, like I said, it speaks to the whole thing. Like, I think Bro just got issues with black women. I'm going to let Sis handle this. Go check out her video. Like I told y'all, there's people that do videos, these type of videos way better than me.
Tatiana Ali, whom he has known since she was a teenager. Jaleel recalled reconnecting with Tatiana Ali when he made an appearance on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Tatiana Ali was dating Jonathan Brandis when he appeared on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Apparently, her and Jaleel White had a kissing scene, and she turned her head so that she didn't actually have to kiss him, which is okay. I don't see a problem with that either. And the fact that he would put it in the book that she didn't want to kiss him is weird to me. So I want to get into some of the women that he name dropped because it seems like he had something negative to say about almost every woman that he name dropped in his book. Even the women who were teenagers at the time, like Bianca Lawson, Tatiana Ali, headlines. But Jaleel White revealed that his official first date was at 16 after he met a girl at the NAACP Image Awards. She didn't go over very well since the girl didn't bother to return any affection, but later asked for money when they went to an arcade. So he makes it seem like she was some type of gold digger. She was 13. She was 13, but he's presenting her as some type of gold digger. He and her was Saved by the Bell, the new class, 1 year later. He said, quote, "It hit me like a ton of bricks. I realized then that Bianca was an aspiring actress. I highly doubt my asking for her phone number would have gone the same way had my position in television not signaled a possible opportunity for her. I think she was ambitious, and so she was willing to date him to get into the entertainment industry, which doesn't make sense considering like her circle. If you consider her father is Richard Lawson, who was well known way before he married Tina. He was well known. He's a well-known actor, and then she's from the family of Berry Gordy. So if anything, she is the one with more connections. He was the star, but as far as connections, she had the connections. So for him to say this about her at age 13, it's a lot for me.
Sis, very well spoken. Again, go check out her channel. She does this stuff way better than me. Okay, I'm an amateur. Okay, she's a professional. All right, but just some of the things that you see there. That Jaleel is dragging things back from 30 years ago, and Tatiana Ali. Maybe she did not feel comfortable in that situation, and you got to give her a clap, give her some props that she handled it in a professional manner to where it still looked real, but she didn't put herself in a position to feel uncomfortable. Props to her for that. Bianca Lawson is at the time, guys. First of all, she's 13, he's 16. He ready to do the wild thing, like to do the wild thing. And I'm thinking she wasn't trying to do all that. She was probably just trying to see, what's up, have a little friend, maybe hold hands. You know what I'm saying? Jaleel was probably trying to get all her goodies. You know what I'm saying? And again, let's remember, she's 13. And so you have to ask yourself, why is he bringing these things up about these young? Because it does not make him look good. I'm like, Jaleel, you were 16. They were 13.
The only reason why you mention these people, because that's the only way for you to get people to read your memoir, because don't nobody care about what you think.
To bring this stuff up about these young girls where you're making advances and they were uncomfortable is not a good look. You know what I'm saying? Tatiana Ali, didn't want to, kiss you on the show, and so now you want to drag her name. Look, Jaleel, not everybody gonna give you them kisses like Kelly. Okay, you got to understand. Kelly was skilled. Okay, she got the skill to pay the bill. Okay, just because you were, the Earth man, you know what I'm saying? You were the Earth man and great at it, don't mean that this girl wants you.
But really, it's a mask though. You are insecure, and you have always been insecure. You still are insecure. That's why you wrote a memoir.
I'm showing some of these clips to give you, a male's point of view on these things. And hey, man, he calling Jaleel out. Does he really have some deep-rooted issues, and particularly maybe with Black women? Okay, because that is kind of what you're picking up. That I pick up a lot from that, or how Kelly was just absolutely incredibly phenomenal. And I told you she was the one that was carrying 90% of their chemistry from everything, from the warmth, from the vibe of it, how it moved, to the kisses, to everything. Kelly was doing all of that, and to not show her appreciation. And not to recognize that, and the things for you about some of the things that he said about some of the Family Matters cast, that for you in a minute, but just even the stuff that he said about, he talks about Will Smith, and again, I'll let sis explain this. She does it so much better. Check it out.
Jaleel White's memoir gave him a chance to offer clarity on situations such as his falling out with Will Smith. And I say falling out because to me, from everything he described, it seems like they just lost touch. I don't see where I would call it a falling out. To me, if you fall out with someone, that implies that y'all had an issue, but it doesn't seem like him and Will Smith directly had an issue with each other. So I don't know if he's just trying to use Will Smith's name to sell his book or what.
We had a falling out or whatever. And it's like, with Will Smith, we had a falling out. It's like, does Jaleel realize that people, it's part of just growing up? Like Will Smith grew up, Kelly grew up, Will Smith, grew up and started making movies like Bad Boys and married Jada Pinkett Smith and had babies and had a family. Like people just grow up. Kelly just grew up. She was walking red carpets with these pretty boys, then married a pretty boy, had a family. Like people just grow up. It doesn't mean that that there's beef there. It just means that you're growing and you're going in different directions. You got to understand sometimes time and season, right? Not everybody that you cross paths with is meant to be in your life for forever. The things too that he says about some of the cast members, I'll let you hear it now.
At this particular table reading, Joe was so late we began table reading without her. And of course, as soon as we did, Joe came barreling into the conference room and carrying a rear view mirror in her hand. Yes, a car rear view mirror. She always had an entertaining story to justify her tardiness. I'm so sorry, y'all. I left my house. If Jamie were as funny in the role of Judy Winslow as she was in our studio classroom, she would have never left the show. It has always amazed me how certain actors' natural timing and humor will simply disappear the moment a director yells, action. And that was Jamie Foxworth. Education didn't seem to be of high importance to Gwen Fox. So after 4 seasons of Jamie struggling with grades, our primary studio teacher took her case to producer Bob Boyette. I'm not covering for this anymore. I'm risking my license. She's failing in every subject.
I get that. That's, Jaleel was basically saying that Joe Marie, would show up to work late and have the most outlandish, crazy excuses as to why, which I found that to be quite comical, actually. I think Joe Marie has already basically said on many interviews that they weren't being great leaders or great professionals for the younger generation, and that they needed to fix that. So Joe Marie basically already put herself on blast, admitting that she even talked about they would smoke in certain places, and they had to clean their act up as well, because there's levels of being professional.
Over whatever it is that's biting him, he didn't have the etiquette that maybe
I and some others had, but there was one time he actually wanted to physically fight me. Turned around and said, "You want to fight?" I would. Darius grabbed me. I was going to go in and whip his behind. I was going to whip his behind. You better check that attitude at the door.
And you see what Jo Marie said there, which is what my point was, where she said etiquette. He doesn't have the etiquette, and he doesn't, because you don't talk about other people's parents. Like you don't talk about other people's parents. You don't talk about people's age. You don't talk about women's weight, which he did all of this in this book, by the way. All of it. He did all of it in the book, and I don't understand why he doesn't understand that, and he's pushing 50. He's pushing 50, you know what I'm saying? A big 50. And it's just some stuff, it just never changes. But that's a lot of what he said in the book, about Jamie, and that is, it's her parents' fault to why, I guess she was failing and all that type of stuff. That's pretty much it. I'm not surprised by that. Jaleel's been dragging Jamie for years, so it's really nothing new. He's never had anything nice to say about Jo Marie. This is what I'll say. There's multiple situations where he takes no accountability. Like like the one thing I took out of this book, and I'm just keeping it real with you guys, is that it's everybody else's fault. He's not at fault for anything. Grown Ups wasn't a good show. It's not because of him. He didn't win Dances with the Stars. It's not because of him, right? Like if you just go and read the book, so that it's kind of a thing, right? Him and Kelly fell out. It's not because of him, guys, and it definitely is, because if you the character of Kelly Williams, that their falling out had everything to do with Jaleel. And so the book is just a lot of that. He doesn't talk about his personal life, which I find interesting, that he's talking about all these other girls, Tatiana, Kelly, Bianca lost. And he's talking about all these, and there's even Quincy Jones' daughter, he talks about in a negative light, but he don't talk nothing about his love life. So if you're thinking you're going to get into his love life, there's none of that on there. There's none of that type of stuff on there. It basically is like, hey, who do I feel slighted me when I was 13? Raw! I'm coming for you. I'm coming after ya. That's what the book is, right? And that's why I said, if you just read his book, if you get his energy, if you don't do what he thinks you should do, you become an enemy, right? He feels slighted. I have to say, guys, I'm just being honest. What makes his story so much greater than somebody else's? Now, I'm not talking about somebody like me. Oh yeah, Jaleel's lived a much better life on earth than me, by far. Okay, like I'm not talking about from the standpoint of like us, right? Our everyday people. Yeah, he's had a more splendid life, but I'm talking about other celebrities. Like what makes his story so much greater than the Candace Camerons, so much greater than the Keisha Knight Pulliams, so much greater than the Keke Palmers? Like what makes a Malcolm Jamal Warner? What makes his story so much more special than theirs? You know what I'm saying? Alfonso Ribeiro, right? Who played Carlton. That man was he was in a Michael Jackson commercial with Michael Jackson.
You're a whole new generation. Put a Pepsi in the motion. And that choice is up to you. Hey, you're the best. And feel the Pepsi way.
You know what I'm saying? What makes his story greater than a Macaulay Culkin? Like I said, what makes his story just so much better? And I mean in relation to, remember, Jaleel thinks that he should have a movie or a series based on, his experience. And I'm just like, what makes his greater than the others? Like what? Like Raven Simone. Story. Oh, because he played Urkel. Okay, he played an iconic character. Okay, so did Candace Cameron. She was DJ Tanner. So did Raven Simone. She was Olivia and other people, right? So did Keisha Knight Pulliam. Keisha Knight Pulliam was Rudy. Like so that's my biggest thing. I'm sorry. Like what makes his story so much greater than anybody else's? Check this out. This was really sad to me.
Jaleel White has been a monster from day one. Mama had to check in the wardrobe room. Call me Monkey Black and Money, making me cry before I go on the set. You know what I mean? Like,
was he mean to you?
I mean, his little black monkey. Yeah, can we get like 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
Yes, please. Take a second.
I just want to point this out. Do you see the trauma? This is trauma. Okay, this is not funny. This is trauma that he is revealing right now, that he is showing you right now. And you got people in the background laughing. Traumatized, because remember, he was young.
Was he abusing his power, or?
No, he was just really mean. He was the biggest bully I ever dealt with.
Scared that, that he would, use circle powers on you. Like,
I honestly don't even know what that means.
Like Stefan, he turned to Stefan?
I was happy to work with Jaleel,
Right. So can you tell us like what stuff he used to do to you?
Just call me names.
Right.
He was
So he wasn't a nice guy we all thought Urkel was.
He was the most competitive actor that I've ever dealt with. And I was only 8 to 9 years old. And this was the meanest in the world. It was all about Steve Urkel and And then 3J came, and then he got threatened.
Trailing me for years. Every single thing that I do, every single thing that I say, everywhere that I go. He told CBS he was going to leave the show if they didn't cut my lines. He asked for $30 million for 3J's lines to be cut, or he was leaving the show. Lines got cut. Go back and look at it. We just gave you $30 million. Sayonara, do your thing, brother. They don't want to deal with Jaleel no more.
It's the truth, bro.
Yeah, can you show that? Can you just put that up for camera A?
Man, they cut me out of this one. They cut me out of. I ain't chasing no fame. Cause on Pyro, I ain't.
Yeah, so that's you right there on the bottom left.
That's me, yeah.
And then there's no history of this though.
And why I believe him, guys, I'm gonna get more into it. But check this out. I wonder if you guys knew this. 3J was actually, you see it right there, because I'm going in, but I'm gonna come back out. 3J, let me see if I can pause it. Y'all see that down there? 3J is actually in the picture initially. They take him out of the picture. They take him out. They take 3J out of the picture. This is what makes me believe that what he's saying is true. You see? Look at that. Were people aware of that? I was not aware of that. I was not aware of that. So you got two young people in Orlando Brown and Jamie Foxworth that now with Jamie Foxworth, Jaleel has admitted that he taunted, that he teased, that he poked fun at, that he made fun of her.
There were a multitude of factors that went into her departure from the show. She wasn't the best at delivering a joke. Gotcha. And they would give her material and it would just fall flat. Be sitting in the background and you're like, and she blows the layup. You know, it was like, you know, it's just like, you know,
said it on interview after interview after interview. And what do you see them doing? Like they did with Orlando Brown. Ha, 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 he, laughing it off like it ain't nothing. But it is something. Because when you go and you do these things, you're causing trauma, right? So is it interesting that you look at Orlando Brown and now these are the type of people that Jaleel looks down on. But he doesn't acknowledge the fact that he may have caused not all of the trauma, but he may have caused some of it. So it's like, look at Jamie Foxworth, and it's so good that she's doing better. And Orlando Brown, for the most part, is doing better too. And that's why I said it ain't about what they've been through, it's about where they're going.
No, man. We all living a good life. Every morning we wake up and breathe, brother. Ain't nobody's life better. We're worth more than anybody's. It's what you do with your time. That's what matters.
What do y'all think? No, Orlando Brown, he crazy, he this, he that. Like, no, he isn't.
Some people keep on pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. No, this is for me, this is for me. No, that's what you see. But you are willing to give up what you think you see for what God sees for you. Preach. Then that's a whole different story.
Preach,
you know what I mean? Like, no, Orlando. No. You may want this, you may want that, but if you could just be you for me, then it's hard enough to be yourself,
right,
let alone wanting to be somebody else. Just be yourself for me and keep on being yourself. Keep inspiring people to be themselves and keep on being that light in people's lives. They have to show themselves that they're the light. It's not just everybody around them. You have to see it for yourself. See it for yourself.
Jaleel needs to recognize and have some accountability that he may have caused some people pain, right? You know what, guys? Even more importantly, he's not perfect and none of us are perfect. And this is the point that I want to make is, guys, we got to take accountability for the things we do and the things that we say to people. And I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about, people that put judgments on you, based on their perception of you or based on what they think you should do or not do. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where you know that you were wrong. You know that you did not have a pure motive. You know that you hurt this person's feelings and you did it on purpose, right? So we need to take some accountability. God did not make us to disrespect each other. God did not make us to devalue each other. We're not made for that. Our souls are not made for hate. Our souls are not made to be made fun of and to be called names. And he didn't make us that way. We need to start taking accountability because it'll make you better. You will become a better person. And you know the word got something to say on this. Here, Galatians 6:4-5 and Hebrews 4:13. Every person will have an account for their life and their actions. Guys, we're not getting away with any of this stuff that we're doing. But if we go and we confess it, if we go and we make it right, if we go and forgive, forgiving is so hard, but God will help you with that. It says Romans 14:12, God judges every action, every word, thought, and people should live with integrity and humility. Repent. Turn back to the Lord. This world has nothing to offer you. It has nothing to offer you. Everything is going to pass away. You're going to realize that everything that this world has to offer you just leaves you empty. God is the only thing that satisfies. Don't take that anger into the new year. Don't take that rebellion into the new year. Don't say new year, new year, new me. No, because if your heart is the same, you are still the same person. If you still got that hard heart, and sometimes, guys, we got to give up things for the Lord. Sometimes we got to give up that hate. Sometimes we got to give up that, not sometimes, all the time, we got to give up hate. We got to give up that anger. Sometimes we got to give it might even be something you enjoy doing, but you got to give it up. You got to give up that mindset or that lifestyle where you have one foot, in and one foot out. You living for God, but you also living for yourself. Maybe you got to give up cursing and cussing, or maybe you got to give up just negative talking, right? What is that thing that you got to give up? Because God is calling every single one of us to give up something. God is tickling your heart. Where you were maybe falling away from God in 2024, but you have said yourself, man, it's about to be me and God in 2025. I ask you, what are you willing to give up for him?
Is a thing or some things that you had to let go of in order to follow God. So for me, the first thing was I had to become sober-minded, even just in order to for him to even get to me. I used to smoke a lot of weed, and I didn't realize how different my thoughts were until I became sober. The second thing was the music I was listening to. When I stopped listening to secular music, I started to listen to Christian music, which also ultimately, it started to change my heart. It started to change the way I think, and now I make Christian music. It changed the way I made music. So you tell me a thing or some things that you had to let go of in order to follow God.
You know what I'm saying? 2025, Happy New Year to you. And as I always say, love God for real, love people for real, and may God bless you, and may God keep you.
I know I got better days ahead.